I literally just played one of the closest, most even fights I have ever had on Age of Empires 3, and this game was truly epic. It is German Doppelsoldner mass at the beginning, but it turns into something that I really did not expect anyway. My name is Interjection, I'm from the Nation of Warriors, and this is my 25th Age of Empires 3 1v1 commentary. Today we have a German mirror, German versus German on the map California. So a couple of things are happening here at the start, and first of all, I've used my settlers, taken control of them to gather up the food crates as fast as I can, obviously get that first settler in production, and I'm also creeping that, I think it's 30 or 40 XP treasure, just guided by one cougar, and I think my settlers went idle for just literally a second and decided to shoot the cougar, meaning that the cougar started attacking one of the settler wagons, which is unfortunate because it means that settler wagon will have less HP, but then I guess you can also look at it as an advantage because now my explorer has more hit points. Yes, so as you can see, I have built a market. I'm going for that hunting dogs upgrade, which is worth 50 coin and 50 wood and will give my settlers a 10% bonus to food gather rate from huntable animals. But in order to get that, obviously there's no coin treasures like on the Great Plains here, like those unguarded muskrat beaver treasures, so unfortunately I do have to collect all of that coin myself, and as you can see here, getting 50 coin exactly and then switching the settlers back onto food. I do not want to over collect on the coin because any more coin is not useful to me, and I only need 50 exactly, but also need to collect a little bit more wood because I also need a house. Obviously to support my population. I cannot train settlers nor send the 2 settler wagon shipment without that population space, so gonna get 100 wood there, and then switch them back onto food as well. So now that I have got the hunting dogs upgrade in queue, it is about to be finished, there it is, and enough wood for that house to go down there. This initial rush of things that I need to do at the start of the game has been completed, and I can put all of my settlers back onto food so that I can get that 800 food, which I will need to age up. Right here, I'm going to use my crack shot on a grizzly bear there. There are 3 grizzly bears guarding that treasure, and then there will only be 2, so that I can come back at a later point, once my crack shot has recharged, to finish off the remaining 2 grizzly bears so that I can get the 150 food that it is, well, that is in the treasure that they are guarding. I don't think I can, well, I can't take on 2 grizzly bears at the moment, so I would have to wait for my crack shot to recharge, and unfortunately there are not very many treasures on this map that I can go for. As you can see here, just here though, I really need to start thinking about my first hunt, and fortunately I saw one deer just sticking out in that herd, and I sent a settler over there to start luring them back towards my base. I put a settler behind the animal and then shot it in the direction of my town centre. So, right now though, 2 settler wagons have just arrived from my home city to help my economy grow. I chose those because I think, well, settlers, generally speaking, are probably the best Age 1 shipment for any civilization, and Germans specifically have a 2 settler wagon shipment, and a settler wagon is worth 2 settlers. It gathers at the speed of 2 settlers, so it's essentially a 4 settler shipment, which well, that makes it the best Age 1 shipment in the game. So here I ask my opponent if he plays Age of Empires 2 HD, because I recognise the name. I've watched quite a lot of Zero Empires videos. He makes Age of Empires 2 commentary, and I recognise a player named Hatsune, and this name kind of looks similar, so I was I was intrigued to know if he was the person that I recognised, but it turns out that he wasn't. So, well, on the topic of Age of Empires 2, I'm going to explain a little bit about the German civilization bonus in Age of Empires 3 for those people who perhaps play different Age of Empires games, or different real-time strategy games in general, just so they know exactly what's going on. Perhaps they don't have the same knowledge that we do. So, well, German is, well, they start with settler wagons. They have 3 settler wagons at the very beginning of the game. Oh, and just before we get into that, I'm aging up right now. I have chosen the quartermaster politician, who will give me crates of 400 wood upon aging up. But yes, they don't really have any bonus at the start, but their settlers are settler wagons rather than settlers. They have 3 settler wagons because obviously, as I said, they gather a efficiency of 2 settlers, and they can ship settler wagons from their home city as well instead of settlers. So that's just one difference, more so than it is an advantage, though typically the settler wagon shipments are more beefy than regular settlers. You get more for your money, I guess you could say. And, before I continue with the German discussion, I'm using my early market. I just got the gang saw upgrade, which increases wood gather rate by 10% for 100 food. Now I'm getting placer mine, 75 wood, 75 food for a 10% bonus to mining coin from mines, and I'm also getting the hit point upgrade for settlers, 35% hit points, great coats for 75 food, all very good. Now the German bonus, the actual bonus, is in age 2. For each shipment they send, they receive an additional 2 Ulan, and a Ulan is kind of like a cavalry unit. So whenever they send a shipment, they'll receive whatever the shipment was, but in addition to whatever the shipment was, they will also receive 2 cavalry units absolutely free, which they can do whatever they want with. And then when they get to the fortress age, which is age number 3, they will receive 3 cavalry units with each shipment for free. And then again, when they go to the industrial age, they will receive 4 cavalry units absolutely free with each shipment. And obviously that's a very nice bonus to have. It can you can use those to raid, you can use them to be very aggressive at the start, and it just generally it helps you have a nicer unit composition. You can basically just train whatever units you like, but you also get cavalry in the mix as well, which can really make, if you're good at micro, it can make playing German very rewarding. In the game right now, though, I have just, collected up the 400 wood, which I aged to age 2 with. That was the bonus I chose, and I'll explain what I'm going to do with that wood in a moment, but as you can see, 3 settler wagons have literally just arrived from my home city, and as we know, that is the equivalent of 6 settlers, therefore making that shipment the most effective age 2 shipment for settlers. You get the most settlers out of any other age 2 shipment for any civilization, so that is possibly one of the best age 2 shipments in the game. But with that 400 wood, I got a barracks up, which costs 200. I got the steel traps upgrade, which costs 125 wood and coin, and I got some houses up as well to support some military production. And for some reason, the military I'm training is Doppelsoldners, because that's what everybody asked me to do in one of my previous German commentaries, so we're going to go with it. So because I am going Doppelsoldner, I have decided that it would probably be a very good idea for me to go for the 700 wood shipment as my second colonial age shipment. And that is because, well, I do not think a straight-up Doppelmass will win me the game. I do not think straight-up Doppels is a very wise idea, especially at the rank that I am at, because any opponent who knows what they are doing should, in theory, be able to counter it quite easily. So to make Doppelsoldners effective, I'll get onto how I'm going to make Doppelsoldners effective, but as you can see here, my opponent has also gone Doppelsoldner, and I don't know if it was lag, I can't really blame it on anything, but he manages to get into hand combat with me here, and slows my Doppels down, so that I'm in hand combat with him, and I can't escape. So to escape, I send one of the Doppelsoldners back, but unfortunately, it was he was in combat with another one, so he was also slowing the group down on that one, meaning I had to waste 2 Doppelsoldners there without any real reason. Just if I was just slightly quicker to get away, I would still have those 2 Doppelsoldners, and or I could have just gone all in and fought that, and we both had about 4 Doppels each. He had, I think, 3 Ulan, I had 2 Ulan, so it would have been an even fight. He would have won it, but I guess the losses wouldn't have been as bad as retreating, but once I committed to retreating, that was that. Unfortunately, that happened. But just before I talk about how I'm going to make Doppelsoldners effective, with the 700 wood that I mentioned, I'm going to build a stable, and that is how I'm going to make Doppelsoldners effective. But yeah, that 700 wood, as you can see, I've spent some of it on houses. I've spent 200 of it on the age 2 coin upgrade, which costs 200 food and 200 wood for a 20% bonus to coin gathering. And with the last remaining 200 wood, I'm going to build a stable. So the reason Doppelsoldners are not effective on their own is because they move so slowly. And as you just saw, when I was trying to retreat with my Doppelsoldners, he was able to slow me down. So if I get a faster moving unit like a Ulan, like the cavalry unit, to target some of his units, then they would slow down, meaning that my Doppelsoldners would be able to catch up and then go into melee damage and absolutely wreck everything. But because my opponent has gone Doppelsoldner as well, it's not going to work in the same way as I expected, but I've already committed to it. And as you can see here, I'm now sending 8 crossbowmen, and that is because he has gone Doppelsoldner. I need some anti-infantry, the crossbowmen, to do their 16 range damage times 1.3 versus heavy infantry because Doppelsoldners are heavy infantry. Unfortunately, I go all in on that fight and he has outmassed me. Looking back on it in retrospect, I should have waited for the 8 crossbowmen to arrive, because then obviously I'd have the crossbow fire backing up my doppels. But as you can see here, I've done a reasonable amount of damage, but as I say, you never really should fight a fight you can't win. But since he had, got me into hand combat, or well, at least I walked into the hand combat, and then I'd committed to the fight then, and once you've committed, there's no going back. So in a reasonable position here, got the 8 crossbowmen out. I also have a really nice economy because I sent the 3 settler wagon shipments so early, and I've also got both the age 2 market upgrades for hunting and for coin gathering, and I've also got 2 settler wagons on the way. So I've got a really nice economy here, and I think despite him being able to beat me in the fights that we have had so far, so he has got a slight military advantage on me. So, but despite that, our masses of military units are relatively even, and I am pretty happy with my economy. So I do think my position in the game is quite good at the moment, though here, silly of me, I sent my doppels in a little bit too early, meaning the crossbowmen were just a little bit late on getting into this fight, meaning that the Blues Doppelsoldners had a few extra hits on my Doppelsoldners without the cover from the crossbowmen. So that fight could have turned out differently. Could have turned out differently if I kept my military units together, but unfortunately they were not together. And just a quick note, well, I think with this strategy, because I am starting so boomy, obviously with the settler shipments and the market upgrades and such, that I should be more passive and defensive at the beginning, and instead of engaging in all of these fights and sending my Doppelsoldners all the way out there, I should have just kept them back and massed up until I had a reasonable force plus the 8 crossbowmen. Then I could push out when the 8 crossbowmen arrive, because then, I'd have a peak optimal advantage at that point in time. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter. If it did, then great. Basically, I was saying I wanted to be more defensive. I thought I was being too aggressive when I shouldn't have been. Here, my settlers are there for some reason. I must have set the spawn point there and not realised, but I'm going to lose a few settler wagons unnecessarily, so that's not too good. Bringing in the Doppelsoldners and my Uhlan to deal with that, but unfortunately, do lose a few there, so that's not so good. But as you can see, my powerhouse economy enabling me to train 5 Uhlan and 5 Doppelsoldners, and really this is where I was hoping, to be able to push, and obviously the Doppelsoldners would just wreck everything that comes in their path. But the problem is getting things into their path, because Doppelsoldners move slowly. So as I said, obviously need cavalry to slow my opponent's units down, get them in hand combat, slow them down so the Doppelsoldners can catch up. But as that's not really happening this game. That was the idea. So I do feel like I copped out a little bit. I mean, this game is epic the way it turns out, but I really wanted to show you what I meant, what I had in mind for Doppelsoldner. So I will release another German commentary before we move on to another civilization, showing exactly what I'm talking about with the slowing the units down and using the Doppelsoldners and such. But now, as you can see, 5 Uhlan is about to arrive as a home city shipment. It's actually a 3 Uhlan shipment, because you get 2 extra Uhlan with every shipment. It is 5. And I'm also training cavalry and Doppelsoldners, obviously. But I feel like I need to push out, because as you can see, I am running out of huntable animals. That is the only herd I have left, and once that expires, then where do I collect food? It does not matter how boomy I have been. If I do not have huntable animals, I cannot collect food, and then I cannot train units. So, as you can see, also just ran out of coin there, and where are my coin mines as well? I haven't actually scouted the back of my base, so there might be some behind there, so I decided to send some Uhlans around there to scout. Really, I should have scouted the back of my base, but I could blame my not scouting that on the fact that I play a lot of vanilla, and that this map is a War Chiefs map and not a vanilla map. So, I could blame it on that, but it's not. It's just me not thinking. I didn't scout the back of my base, and really I should have done. But here, as you can see, he definitely has a very large mass. He's been, whilst I've been boomy, I do not have as many military as him, and he's been winning those fights. So it just means his mass is slightly, been getting bigger than mine, and really I'm going to struggle here. So what can I do? Obviously I've garrisoned my settlers because you can have, once you have 10 settlers in your town center, you maximize the damage that your town center can do. If you have any more than 10 in it, the town center does not gain any more ranged damage. So for each additional settler in a town center, you get the town center's attack increases up until you have 10 settlers. But here, cool Minutemen brought my Ulan into back to do some damage here, using those 2 crossbowmen there as well, training more crossbowmen, and hopefully I can just tank it out. The town center has very low hit points. Obviously he's been focusing the town center, and then, you know, I've come in here once the cavalry have arrived back, and I've trained the Minutemen as well, and it's just this, all of these units, I can pop out as many units as I can at once just to fend him off. And obviously a lot of players, including myself, will also pop a shipment at the same time as Minutemen, at the same time as bringing back all of their military units from wherever they were, just so that you can surprise your opponent in one go with all this huge massive units just to defend people off from your base. So that's what I've done there. So I have been able to defend my town center, but it is very low hit points, and well, I've ran out of huntable animals, so I have no food income, and I've ran out of coin mines, so I have no coin income. I'm gonna have to scout the map to find more, and really I cannot train any military units immediately. So really, how am I going to defend myself if my opponent turns up? I'm building a mill there because I really do need food. Obviously the mill is a very costly investment, 400 wood for a food gathering place, which does not well, actually, you collect food much faster from huntable animals. There, oh no, there's some Doppelsoldners that I'd forget. Well, I didn't notice. I should have noticed them. They're taking out like tons of my settlers. As you can see, one and then a whole load more go down here. That's not good. Losing my boom advantage, and I do not have any resources to, you know, make use of my boom advantage anyway. But yeah, that mill, obviously mills can only support 10 gatherers, so I'm going to use my settler wagons to gather from the mills, because obviously they only count as 1 gatherer, but they have the efficiency of 2, so, you know, 10 settler wagons on a mill, you've essentially got 20 settlers gathering from the mill, so you're kind of cheating out on the mill there, which is, you know, got to make sure that you use the settler wagons on the mill. So at least that's what I'm doing there. But I found some coin my opponent's gathering. I've also got another mine behind my base now that I've scouted it. I've now got a hunt as well over here. It is quite far away from my base, so it is undefended. But at least I do have resources now. Things are looking up for me. And my opponent trying to quickly put up a tower here so that he can get his settlers inside and protect them. But he is now in the fortress age, and well, I guess he could also use that as a spawn point, which he does. He's going to send some skirmishers there, I guess, to defend his settlers, the 8 skirmishers shipment. But well, you know, what kind of position am I in? I did send a 700 coin shipment, which I didn't mention, and I have collected that up, which is why I do have so much coin without actually having any gatherers. I'm going to spend that on Doppelsoldners here, but I could think about aging up. I think aging up isn't a bad shout. I am running out of useful shipments that I can send in the Colonial Edge. As you can see here, there's really not a lot I can send, so I'm not actually sending anything at the moment. And I actually deleted the Doppelsoldners from the queue, and I've decided I'm going to age up. And I'm going to age up with the age up fast option. I'm not going to choose a bonus, so instead my bonus will be to age up more quickly than normal, so that I can rush to the Fortress Age, and then I can make use of that shipment which I have stacked up. I don't want that sitting there, because that is in theory worth 700 resources, and in the Fortress Age, you know, obviously Fortress Age shipments are much better value. They're like worth 1,000 resources each. But here, he shipped 8 skirmishers to this tower, and then really maybe I should have ran when the 8 skirmishers turned up, but I chose to fight it and try to kill some settlers, but you know, the skirmishers appeared, so I wasn't really able to kill those settlers. They were safe in the tower that he built. And here he's got you know, some Ulan and Doppelsoldners, and I'm a little bit worried with these coin settlers here, because they are quite far back, and if he decides to go back there with his, you know, his Doppelsoldners, which do like crazy area damage, and his Ulan, which can, you know, just chase my settlers down, then I would lose a lot of those settlers. So I was being very cautious. I built a little wall segment, you might have noticed that here. That wall segment gives me line of sight. If he does choose to walk towards me, then I'll have some pre-notice, and I can quickly, maybe I can, you know, sneak ninja away, and he won't be able to get me there. But definitely, you know, having more line of sight there is a good idea if he is close by. But you know, maybe I'm being a little bit reckless leaving them there, but I really don't have any other place to get coin. So here, stacked up lots of resources. I'm going to spend them very quickly on war wagons, which are very expensive units. 150 coin and 150 wood. They have a ton of hit points, and they have a very nice damage. They are essentially the German substitute for a dragoon. They do not get dragoons. Germans cannot train those. So instead they get war wagon, which obviously are much stronger and much more expensive, but do not move quite as quickly. So they do not function in the same way as a dragoon, though they do have similar multipliers and a similar function. But yes, 8 skirmishers also on the way. And you know, in retrospect, I should have remembered war wagons take forever to train, because as you can see, my opponent has lots of cavalry just, you know, standing around there, and then the skirmishers are going to arrive before the war wagons, which is a problem. If I timed it right, the skirmishers could arrive at the same time as the war wagons, and then the war wagons could, you know, target the cavalry. I'd use my war wagons to kill his Ulan, and I could use my skirmishers to kill his Doppelsoldners, and you know, they'd be complementing each other, because but yeah, as you can see, the war wagon's a little bit late here, and I lose all the skirmishers. But you know, still end up winning the fight because these things are so tanky. But that's it. Yes, more war wagons on the way. They take a very long time to train, but that is the best way to get rid of these resources. And I think war wagon is a very nice thing to train at the moment here. I have another shipment coming up. And just in a moment, you see I'm sending those settlers back towards my town to gather food at the mill, but I end up sending them back towards the coin mine here because I realise I have a shipment coming up, and if I get 1,000 coin, then I can send a I can send a mercenary shipment from my home city to help defend, so I can make use of that coin. And since coin really is the fastest gathering resource I have it upgraded, you know, 30% from my market, whereas the mill is a very slow gathering resource, and I have no hunts left, so you know, making use of the coin mine is a good idea here, I think, and mercenaries is the way I'm going to do that. As you can see there, though, retreating my settlers away from the mine because my opponent has his Landsgenet mercenaries. He has sent mercenaries of his own. They are very, very tanky, very, very beefy hand infantry units, which are essentially counter cavalry, meaning they do huge multipliers versus cavalry, and they're still quite strong against everything, but you know, they're very good at countering cavalry. But here, obviously, German war wagons, I can retreat, I can do a little bit of hit and run, I'm going to shoot, run away, and then I'll shoot again and run away. I do not want to take any damage from those things, but the thing is, war wagons are so slow. They're not as fast as dragoons, so you can't hit and run in the same way, but I'm still going to try, because if those Landsgenets get anywhere near me, goodbye war wagons. But at the moment, sending 10 Jaegers, which is nice, and I'm doing a nice job of killing off these Landsgenets. But as you can see, they are so tanky, taking so many hits from these war wagons. But those Jaegers will definitely even up the fight. Jaegers are skirmishers, essentially. They have and they're basically, you know, anti-infantry, and they are very, very good at what they do. So those Jaegers would make short work of his Doppelsoldners and his Landsgenet. He's got, you know, anything, those things in my base, you know, no problem here. But he sees, he gets his Ulan up in my face, up in the war wagon, slowing them down there, and they can't really retreat, meaning that the few remaining Landsgenets that he did have are able to kill off the war wagons there. So I lose, you know, a ton of war wagons, and but I guess it wasn't too bad of a trade, because I did kill off a lot of the Landsgenets, and yes, there we are. So those war wagons now gone, but he was able to bring down my town centre, but not before my Jaeger mercenaries you know, arrived here. So he brought down my TC, but then I was able to kill all the units in my base there and fend him off. So have you know, more coin, lots of coin stacked up. So another mercenary shipment seems like a good idea to me, and I'm going to push out with war wagons on the way. I've got a reasonable food income from the mill, but I'm just going to have surplus coins. So mercenary shipments, I think, are the way forward here. And I'm zooming in on these Doppelsoldners because, well, I forgot about the entire game. I am such a pro not. But yes, those Doppelsoldners could have changed some of the fights going on here. His Ulan are attacking my Jaegers, and well, Ulan do cavalry counter skirmishers, and Jaegers are skirmishers. But since these Jaegers, these particular mercenaries, are so strong, they're just, you know, able to just, even though Ulan's countered them, they're just able to bring the Ulan down, no problem. But for me to send my next mercenary shipment, I do need a spawn point, and I do not have one at the moment because my town centre is gone and I have no home city spawn point. No, so I'm going to have to build a tower which does function as a home city spawn point here. And I'm also, you know, I've got more coin than I need, but I'm going to spend some of that coin along with the food on war wagons here. Able to bring down a few of his settlers, you know, paying him back for the settlers he killed earlier. But yeah, he's sent Black Riders as well, so he's also gone very mercenary heavy. So this is a this is a strange German mirror where we're both doing, I guess, similar things. But now I'm in his base, and really, I'm not going to focus the TC down because I'm unlikely to be able to kill it. Obviously, he's got a lot of units. Those Black Riders on the way back. He's got units in his base here. So instead, I'm going to try and focus down the weaker buildings that I can kill, which is like the barracks and the houses and stuff like that. 5 war wagons there, or is it 4 wagons there, now coming to join the fight. I also have 9 Black Riders of my own. It's interesting to note that the Germans, instead of getting extra Ulan when they send a mercenary shipment, they don't get the Ulan. Instead, they get extra mercenaries, which I think is really nice. So yeah, but in this fight, I'm using my Jaegers on his Black Riders, so it is essentially Skirmisher versus Dragoon, and obviously Skirmisher counters Dragoon. So there, he calls it GG. I really went all in here. Didn't bother building a new town centre. Only just got the town centre foundation down just as the game ended, but yeah, went all in there without a town centre, just kept massing, no settler production at the end. That is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do rate the video thumbs up. That really is appreciated. And if you are new to this channel, if you've just discovered these videos, then please do subscribe, and I am uploading daily videos at the moment for the next 50 days, well, 39 more days, because this is video number 11 in my 50-day daily uploads marathon. The next 1v1 commentary will be a German game again, where I will show an actual true Doppelsoldner mess like I was intending to. But again, thanks for watching, guys. You have been listening to Interjection from youtube.com/the Nation of Warriors. Links are in the description.